Welcome to Module 2 of the JavaScript Beginner2Advanced tutorial. And in this series, the first thing I want to do is to apologize for some of the errors that occurred in the previous tutorial, because I realized that at the end of the tutorial, I actually wrote thanks you instead of thank you, and I want to apologize for that. And one major error I made was I wasn't able to actually open up the console for you to see clearly, so most of the stuff were actually hidden, and I want to say sorry for that. But in this module, I'll try my best to make sure that you see everything on the console. And then other people also having problems working with other browsers, and that's if they don't want to use Internet Explorer. So in this tutorial, basically, I would try to use most of the browsers that I have to do the same thing before we carry on with what we have to do in this module. So I'll first of all open Internet Explorer as we open in the other tutorial. And I'm going to right click on this, inspect element. And this is the same thing we pretty much did in the previous tutorial. I'm just repeating it. Then we go to console, and then I want to increase the size a bit because it wasn't visible in the previous tutorial. So basically, let me close this out. Alright, here we wrote a few things in the previous tutorial. Remember we said before you can declare a valid variable, you have to use the var keyword, and so that's what I'm doing in this tutorial. I'm pretty much going to use the var keyword throughout, and then we'll understand some other things in this tutorial. Alright, so var x is equal to a value. You can name it anything. I'm naming my 14, and we have assigned that anytime we write x, we have 14. Alright, that's basically for Internet Explorer. Now I want to launch Firefox, and let's see what we would have. I think I should have launched this. Yeah, I don't know why I kind of delayed. See, what am I launching? Oh shit, I was launching Electron. Alright, let me close that. Mouse light taker. Okay, not now. And when you right click on this, still go to the same inspect element. Okay, I think I automatically increased this. We have to come to our console, and then we can pretty much write everything that we had in the previous tutorial. But with Firefox, we actually have the writings down here, so we can decide the same variables. Oh, I'm sorry, I have that thing blocked out. Let me just toggle that thing. I don't think it's even helping anymore, so let me just toggle it off. Alright, so we can have variable x, and we can equate that to the same 14, and then you have that. We'll write x, we have 14, so that is for Mozilla Firefox. Now let's use Chrome. See what we have. I think I'll basically use these three browsers before we proceed with what we have to do today. If not, I will spend all my time doing this, and we'll actually not make any progress. So I'm using Chrome for this now, and it's launching these developer tools. Sorry if it's delaying. I don't really know why it's doing that. Okay, let me do it again. Alright. Now we have it. Now by default, I think you should have yours at this side. You should have your console at this side. Let me come to console. You should have it at this side. This thing is annoying, right? Alright. You should have it at this side, but most of the times I feel I don't have enough room. So I just double click and then I want to bring it to the bottom, and then I take it up to this level. I think that's the most I can have. So here I can create variable x to be equal to 14, and then time I do x, I get 14. So that's it. So I want to return back to the browser that we used earlier on because I think I love this, and that's what you'll be using. Alright, so let me toggle the screen keys so that when you actually don't know what to press, you can check there. So you don't know what to press, you can check here. You see what exactly I'm pressing, and then you just do that. Now in the previous tutorial, I promised that we're creating a basic calculator, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this tutorial. So let me just write the var keyword, and then we're going to assign variables. So basically, I need to first of all create the logic for this computer, this calculator. Sorry, it's a computer anyway, and basically we can create a complex calculator here. We just want to create a console calculator. We can take data from the users, we can take input, so we just have to declare them automatically. So we do variable x equal to a value. I want to make my 23, you can make yours whatever. Then I have variable y to be equal to, let's say, 6. Yes. That's it. So now we have two variables containing values that we can use in our basic calculator. But before we actually proceed, I want you to know that we have arithmetic, arithmetic operators. And those arithmetic operators are the addition operator, then we have the subtraction operator, then we have the division operator, then we have the multiplication operator, and then we have the modulo operator. Then I think we have the increment operator, and then we have the decrement operator. I'll pretty much use all of these ones for you to see what they do. Alright, so we're going to start with the addition operator, and I think you should know what that would do to add two numbers. So say x plus y, semicolon, because our end last statement, we'll do enter. You see we have 29, and 23 plus 6 is 9, so that's correct. So let's do the subtraction operator. We'll do x minus y. What's our basic calculator? We have 17, and I think that's the value we're supposed to get at the end of it. And what didn't we do? Let's do division. So let's do x divided by y, semicolon, and then we have 3.83333 whatever 5. We don't care. And we're gonna do multiplication. So we do x multiplied by y, and then enter. You have 138. So that's basically what we have. So now I'm gonna explain what modulo is. I think most people are really a bit good with mathematics. You know what modulo is already. I don't have to tell you that. But basically, when we use modulo, we're gonna get the remainder of our division. So 23 divided by 6, whatever is going to be the remainder that cannot be divisible by 6 anymore is what is going to be logged in our console. So I'm going to say x modulo y, have enter, and then we have 5. So it means that x can actually, y can go into x 3 times, and the remainder is going to be 5. So that's basically what the modulo does. Now I spoke about the increment operator and then the decrement operator. So what does it do? The increment operator increases the value by 1, and the decrement operator decreases the value by 1. So when we do x plus plus, let's do enter. So you have x to be 23. Let's see if we had it to be 23 now. Let's see. Okay, it was 23, so let's try x again. Now we have 24 because we have incremented x by 1. I just want to clear the console so that we can do that. So when we do x now, we have 24. When we do x minus minus, we'll still get 24. But when we log x now, it means x is now going to be 23. Now this brings me to something that I really want to explain. We have what we call pre-increment and then post-increment. So what is pre-increment? I increase it before I actually execute the command. And then post-increment is I execute the command and I increase it. So the next execution, it will affect that. It won't affect the execution that I'm going to do currently. So this is an example. When we log x, let's see the value we have currently. We have 23. So when I do x plus plus, it's going to be 24, but it is still log 23 until I go for the next one. When I go for x again, x now becomes 24. So that's basically it. But with pre-increment, when I do plus plus x, this is actually just going to be 25 right away. Sorry. Plus plus x, semicolon. And this 25 although because it's incremented it and then it executed x, and that's why it's 25. And it's the same thing if I do minus minus x, it's going to be 24. Other than if I do x minus minus, it will still be 24. But if I log x again, then I have 23. You get that? Okay, so this is awesome. Whoa. Whoa. I think it's reminding me of somebody's birthday. That's awesome. Let's just reach a person after that. Okay, so this is our basic calculator that we have created in this tutorial. And then I want us to do something little again before we go to the next tutorial. I'll go over it again so that we understand. Now, I want us to talk about data types. And I want us to talk about primitive data types this time around. So in JavaScript, we have primitive data types. We have number as a data type. We have string as a data type. We have boolean as a data type, and then we have undefined. So these are basically the data types that we have in JavaScript. So what is a number data type? A number data type is anything that's a number. So I'll write variable x, I want to equate this to a number, let's say 90. So when we write x anytime, it's 90. We did this earlier on. Now I want to know the type of data type that it contains, or the type of data it contains. So we just write, there's an inbuilt function for checking this out, and that is typeof. You just do typeof, and you put this in curly braces, and then you put X. So what data type is X? You press enter, see X is a number. So alright, thank you. Let's clear the console. I do that with Control L if you're on this, and you can actually click on this to clear the console. So whatever browser you're using, just check that out and you know what exactly you're supposed to use. So what other thing was I gonna do? I just forgot. Okay, now we're gonna check typo for string. So we say variable X. We're gonna reassign this to be equal to a string of text, and we just want to write hello world, and it's a string of text. So now when we write typeof and then write X, it should give us a string. Now X is a string. You get it? That's awesome. So now I want us to do it for another. Let me just clear the console. Another variable called Y. So we do variable Y. We're going to look at undefined. So here you see I have not defined Y to anything, but I have actually ended the execution. So I have not defined Y. Right now Y is undefined. So let's do typeof. Not because of that undefined update, because anytime we did that, we normally had undefined. So now we're just going to do Y. Let me see what type of data type is Y. And it says undefined. So basically we've gone through the data types that we have: a string, then we know we have a number, then we know we have a boolean. Okay, we didn't do a boolean, so let's do that. A boolean basically is true or false, and you work pretty much with booleans in our upcoming tutorials. So anytime I write, let's just write typeof, and then if I put true here, let's see what it's going to be. Boolean. If I write typeof, let's put false in here, see what's going to be. Boolean. So a boolean is just true or false. Those are the two that can be booleans, nothing else. Alright, so this is pretty much it about data types, primitive data types. We'll talk about non-primitive data types in the next tutorial, and then we will now move to writing our code on a text editor instead of using the console, so we can actually build real-world apps, because we can't save this and we can't take the code to make an application that we can sell to Google or sell to Microsoft. Anyway, so that's it. So we learned about the number data type, we learned about the string data type, we learned about the boolean data type, and we learned about the undefined data type. So in the next tutorial, we'll actually learn about non-primitive data types, and then we'll move on to learn more about operators, and then we'll progress from there. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope this helps you. Alright, thank you.